Please come to order. Good evening and welcome. I'm Randy Guy, President of Commissioners of St. Mary's County. I'd like to welcome you all. We're finally looking at faces out there now rather than empty seats we've been looking at for over a year. This is great to see somebody here at the meetings now. This has been a good day. Before introducing the other commissioners, I ask that you turn your cell phones off or on vibrate. Sitting to my right, representing the 1st Commissioner District, which includes Ridge, Piney Point, St. Josiah, Mr. Eric Colvin.
Good evening.
Representing the 2nd Commissioner District, which includes Leonardtown, Hollywood, Mr. Mike Hewitt.
Good evening.
Sitting to my left, representing the 3rd Commissioner District, which includes Charlotte Hall, 7th District, Golden Beach, and Mechanicsville, Mr. John O'Connor.
Good evening.
Representing the 4th Commissioner District, which includes Lexington Park, some of California, Great Mills, and some of Hollywood, Mr. Todd Morgan. Seated at the table to my left is Dr. Rebecca Bridget. Our County Administrator. Lisa Cassis, our Communications Director, is sitting at the table to my right. Amy Carter, our video media producer, is behind the glass, broadcasting live tonight. Dr. Bridget will now provide the format for tonight's public forum. Dr. Bridget?
Thank you, Commissioner President Guy. So tonight's Commissioner Public Forum is May 25th, 2021. Here are the guidelines for the Commissioners of St. Mary's County Public Forum. For those unable to join us in person but wishing to address the Commissioners, please call 301-475-4200 extension 1234 to provide your name and address for the record. You will then be given an opportunity to speak to the Commissioners through the phone conference. Those wishing to speak in person should sign up on the forms located in the lobby of the Chesapeake Building at 41770 Baldridge Street here in Leonardtown. All speakers are allotted 3 minutes to address the Commissioners. At the end of the 3 minutes, our Communications Director, Elisa Casas, will let you know that your time has expired. We ask that you respect the 3-minute time limit in order to give all those who wish to participate an opportunity to be heard. The public forum is being televised live on St. Mary's County Government TV 95 and the county's YouTube channel. If you should miss any part of the hearing, it will re-air on Channel 95 this Saturday, May 29th at 8 p.m. and will remain available for on-demand viewing on the St. Mary's County Government YouTube channel. Citizens were provided an opportunity to address the Commissioners via video submissions, but we didn't have any submissions for this public forum, so we'll now begin accepting comments through our teleconferencing system. Ms. Casas, do we have any callers?
Thank you, Dr. Bridget. Thank you, Commissioners. We do.
Good evening, and thank you for calling in to participate in the Commissioners of St. Mary's County Public Forum. Please remember, you are allotted 3 minutes to address the Commissioners, and at the end of the 3 minutes, I will let you know your time has expired. Please speak clearly into your phone, state your name and address for the record. Good evening. You may begin your remarks now.
Thank you, and if I may introduce myself first, and then if you would start the 3-minute timing. My name is Elin Bryce Davis. I live at 20832 I'm retired St. Mary's County Public Schools. Tonight, I'm updating the Commissioners on the commercial use of 2 properties on my street operating as franchises of Airbnb, a $38 billion plus entity currently trading on the New York Stock Exchange. In spring 2019, 20838 Waterside Drive, also known as the Sandy Beach Motel next door to me, began operating as an Airbnb franchise. In March 2020, I emailed the absent Sandy Beach Motel operators requesting a temporary halt to rentals during the quarantine or to require longer-term rentals. By email, they informed me they would consider 2-week rentals depending on the trajectory of the pandemic. By January 2021, the Sandy Beach Motel website posted a 3-night minimum. Now it's a 2-night minimum, a potential turnover rate of 180 times per year. This house has become a commercial motel and parking lot. A house masquerading as a private residence 15 feet from my door with an advertised turnover rate of a 2-night minimum is blatantly commercial. The St. Mary's County Commissioners' failure to act thus far to preserve the residential zoning code, I fear, may be giving the green light to others in my neighborhood who are intrigued by the idea of converting their own homes to Airbnbs in this tiny vintage residential waterfront community of narrow lots and single-family homes. I have been advised by a neighbor to move or to erect a fortress-style fence and to install noise-canceling devices. Regarding the Sandy Beach Motel's failed sand mound system, a commissioner's January 2021 letter to me advised me to continue to pursue the matter with the St. Mary's County Health Department. This puzzles me, as it is the Health Department that has twice documented the failed system in its own previous reports in 2002 and 2020. Runoff from this failed mound system continues to leach from the contaminated soil into the Potomac River, exacerbated by a year of unprecedented rainfall. I'm not referring to the newly installed pump-out system, but to the soil of the old system, which was flushed into for almost 20 years, including 5 months during COVID. The Health Department should not need a reminder to follow up its own reports and to implement methods of removing and replacing the contaminated soil.
Ma'am, your time has expired. Please wrap up your remarks. Thank you.
I'm at the end.
Thank you.
I ask the St. Mary's County Commissioners to maintain and to enforce the existing residential zoning code in my community before my historic neighborhood is irrevocably altered. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for calling to participate.
Ms. Casas, do we have anyone else on the line?
Yes, Dr. Bridget, thank you. Good evening. Thank you for calling in to participate in the Commissioners of St. Mary's County Public Forum. Please remember you are allotted 3 minutes to address the commissioners, and I will let you know when your time has expired. Please speak clearly into your phone, state your name and address for the record, and you may begin your remarks now.
Hello, Commissioners. William Bryant, St. Mary's County resident, calling in as usual. Before I begin, I'd like to say that my opinions are my own and not representative of any organization. I have been calling and attending these public forums for years. Each year, I feel like there is more and more of a disconnect between you and the citizens, between you and other people's money. Each year, I try to educate more and more people on your terrible practices and spending. I'd like to start with this whole paid EMS thing. I've been a volunteer in this county for 12 years, and I work for a combination fire EMS system where I do ride an ambulance. Your disconnect with the system is astounding. The EMS staffing system has been struggling for a decade. Yes, COVID made it worse, but you are now being reactive instead of proactive. Paid EMS staffing is needed now. It was needed 10 years ago. You think that a few ambulances will help? Yes, but there are more calls than people right now. Even with 6 guaranteed staffed ambulances, there will still be more calls than people. To the volunteers who say that they can do it, yes, stations can handle 1 or 2 simultaneous calls. But when stations in this county have 3, 4, or 5 calls in their area at the same time, no, you can't do it. Yes, you need help. There are more than enough calls for everyone. We need more staffed ambulances than calls because the citizens deserve a prompt emergency response. 4 medics that are proposed, and I guess have been approved in the budget because you guys approved the budget today before the public forum. That's a start, but it's not enough, especially for 24/7 coverage. Every ambulance is already on a call. When another call comes in, then we are back to the old problem. Public safety is quite literally one of the only jobs of county government, and you are playing games with it. Imagine telling someone who waits an hour for an ambulance that, well, you know, because of COVID, we're kind of waiting to see if volunteers come back. What a joke of a thought process and an embarrassment that we pay you to say things like that. Also, cutting the FTEs to do the 50-50 split with the contractor just means that you're going to be paying way more for the same service with, as mentioned in the meetings, less accountability. What a joke of a thought process. Each week, you waste time, yours and everyone else's, with pointless proclamations and photo shoots for 30, 45 minutes before your meeting, when you should instead be focusing on the budget to say, this is how you spend other people's money. And not just county residents, no. When you accept these state and federal grants, you are taking money from people all over Maryland and the United States, taking funding from the people of Maryland and all over the United States to fund your project. Have you ever considered where the county tax money goes? Where does our money go to the state and the federal tax revenues across the U.S. I watch all the commissioners' videos and budget work sessions. This last one was both amusing and sad. We decided how to spend money, and then at the end adjusted tax rates and credits, which impact revenue, which impacts how much you spend. Totally backwards. That's akin to spending your money each month and then deciding based off what you spent how much you should have to work. That analogy isn't totally accurate, as the government has no intrinsic value. It only has what it takes from others. Your job is to decide if what you take from me and others is worth it. And from my standpoint, you are atrociously terrible at spending money. I continue to be astounded at the projects you decide is worthy of taking other people's money for, like a bike trail at $1 million a mile, millions of dollars on farmers markets and county meat processing plants, not to mention the last-minute addition of millions for turf fields that had not been discussed at a single budget work session in the current fiscal year budget process.
Sir, your time has expired. Please wrap up your remarks. Thank you.
Sir, I'm wrapping up. It's sad that most of your constituents don't know that the people they voted for spend their hard-earned money on things like a county-run golf course that posts deficits each year, over 6 figures last year. Golf parks are not government's job. You have a $40 million CIP budget just for Parks and Rec alone in the next 6 years. Probably needs to be revised up because of those last-minute turf fields. Imagine being poor and living in St. Louis County and having money taken from your paycheck, but being told it's okay. We are building a nice park with turf fields 20 miles away from you with your money. No one knows how to spend their income better than the person who earns it, least of all you. I like the motion at last week's budget meeting that was rushed through, then had to be rescinded because it created a deficit because you didn't do the math. You are playing with other people's money, and we are tired of it. To make a general statement, you don't care about how the government represents the people because in your eyes, you are the government. Now, that was a lot of complaining, but I will make one suggestion. Change the tax year to match the fiscal year so you are not estimating 6 months' worth of revenues. That might make your decision of how to spend other people's money easier. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you for your remarks.
Thank you, Ms. Casas. Now we'll begin with those that are in person. Elizabeth Wright.
I am Elizabeth Wright. I live at 45160 Mallard Court, Hollywood, Maryland. Good evening, President Randy Guy and County Commissioners Eric Colvin, Mike Hewitt, John O'Connor, and Todd Morgan. I've come to address the need to fully reopen the CSM Aquatic and Fitness Center in Leonardtown, Maryland. Since 2010, when CSM opened, I have come to this fine center, which has become a beacon of light, a shining star, and an excellent educational center, providing so many different services and lessons to St. Mary's County and neighboring areas. The center, with its state-of-art fitness gym and warm therapy pool and large swimming pool, provide for St. Mary's College, CSM college students and also high school swim teams a place to practice and participate in county swim meets. Over the years, I have observed many fine different classes given here at CSM, such as the 5th grade water class, teaching all those students in the pool how to be safe swimmers and even aid persons in distress in the water. Other classes were for mothers and babies, regular swim classes in which my grandchildren participated, and also swim classes for older students with special needs. In the therapy pool, the 88-degree warm water was soothing, and the seated area where the jets could be turned on by foot therapy for hurting muscles and joints. Since 2010, I have attended many different therapeutic exercise classes in this pool, usually 2 to 4 days a week. These hourly classes have given me good exercise, helped to lessen the progression and pain of my arthritis, kept me alive, flexible, moving easily, and enjoying time in the water with my fellow students, some of whom are here tonight, who became my very good friends. And socialization is so much important when we get older. Keeps our brains happy and kind and loving and caring. Our longtime teacher, Gina Belcher, actually trained by the Arthritis Foundation, provided outstanding instruction to so many of us with arthritis and others with serious injuries or rehab from shoulder injuries, knee, and or hip replacements. After March 5th, 2020, when the Aquatic Center closed, many of us were deeply saddened and consequently at a loss for good exercise, which kept us healthy and flexible. Since I can no longer swim at CSM, which is the only exercise I can do easily. My arthritis has become progressively worse, more painful, more debilitating, making it harder to walk, harder to stand up and straighten and move easily. Please find a way to reopen this most valuable center with its many lessons, not only for CSM students, but all of us who live in St. Mary's County and want and need to be healthy, flexible, mobile, and happy. If necessary, write a grant and send to Governor Hogan to fully support this valuable educational center, fitness aquatic center. And I'm a retired teacher, and I really enjoyed going there after I had retired from 20 years teaching. I actually taught at St. Mary's Academy a long time ago, 1975 to 77. I taught Sandy Medinsky Dyson children, and I taught her children at Piney Point. And I love teaching, and I love learning. So thank you. Blessings. Good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Marcus Drake.
Good evening, everyone. My name's Marcus Drake. I'm a 23-year retired veteran living in Mechanicsville, 26301 Old Red Oak Lane. It's only been a few years that I've gotten involved in local politics. I think I was like the vast majority of the 113,000 plus residents here who just go about their daily lives and don't really see, feel, or appreciate the effects of your decisions. This changed when I found out that you were more interested in spending money on new trails at the local parks than you were in seeing to it that our law enforcement and EMS personnel received a pay raise that was competitive with surrounding areas. I have a son-in-law and several friends who are sheriff's deputies. They are a credit to the law enforcement community and a fine example of the kind of solid, high-quality people we need to be able to retain in order to safeguard our citizens. As of right now, many of them are considering leaving the force for other departments or leaving law enforcement altogether because they can't get paid what they're worth here. I have no doubt if you went door to door in this county and asked every adult what they think the most important items are that should be funded, you will find that law enforcement, emergency services, education, and infrastructure would be at the top of the list. I'm also just as confident that almost nobody would mention new park trails or artificial turf. The people you see gathered here to speak and witness these proceedings are but a minuscule percentage of the population, but I have no doubt in my mind that they represent the will and voice of the thousands who are not present. I'm going to give you an analogy that I think everyone here and everyone watching can understand and appreciate. When you own a car, you have priorities that require a certain amount of financial outlay. First, you need to make sure the engine and driveline is regularly serviced and properly maintained. Then, you need to make sure the tires are in good shape to keep you safe on the road. After that, you want to care for the interior and exterior to keep it comfortable and looking good. Last but not least, you need to be setting aside money for any emergency that may arise so you don't have to dip into the rent to fix the problem. After all that, if you've got funds left over, then and only then should you be looking at the fancy stereo, the custom wheels, or the slick paint job. Gentlemen, the warning light on the gas gauge has been on for a while. The engine is over 20,000 miles overdue for a tune-up, the tires are bald, and you've decided to buy a gallon of gas, a quart of oil, a Bose stereo system, and 24-inch custom rims. The voice, the will, and the best interests of the citizens of this county have been ignored for too long. It's long past time for the engine that keeps this county running to get a complete overhaul, and the tires definitely need to be replaced. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Elisa, do we have any callers?
We do. Thank you, Dr. Bridget.
Good evening. Thank you for calling in to participate in the Commissioners of St. Mary's County Public Forum. Please remember you are allotted 3 minutes to address the commissioners, and I will let you know when your time has expired. Please speak clearly and directly into your phone and state your name and address for the record. Good evening. You may begin your remarks now.
Good evening, Commissioners. Thank you for taking my comments. This is Caroline King from California, Maryland. I'm here tonight to talk about Wildwood, of which I am a resident. I'm aware it's a pod that's been approved for many years, and there's not much you can do to change things now. But when I sat on the Planning Commission, it was frustrating to hear updates from the current developer and not have any input into plans. Essentially, they've been allowed to run wild. The newer parts of Wildwood lack any of the character of the older sections. Forests have been clear-cut, with a few immature trees planted in their place. many of which are not maintained, left to die, and never replaced. Stormwater drainage and flooded yards and basements have become almost a constant issue. New neighborhoods have been built with little common space or no amenities such as benches or playgrounds. There's little connectivity between individual neighborhoods. Although the developer advertises walking trails throughout Wildwood, what they're referring to is really just a bike lane on the shoulder of Wildwood Parkway. However, it's not really safe to use that bike lane as the traffic on the parkway has greatly increased and the amount of reckless driving has increased right along with it. The Wildwood Facebook page has many photos and videos of drivers speeding and passing on the shoulder. Besides the skyrocketing number of homes in Wildwood, I believe the way Lawrence Hayden Road was recently altered to accommodate the new airport runway has made it so inconvenient to exit Wildwood that way that more people are using the parkway now. Also, more new homes means more children districted to Evergreen Elementary. That school is the most overcapacity school in the county, and yet when redistricting was done for Duke Elementary, no pressure was taken off of Evergreen. It's not just the number of kids in the classroom, it's about the staffing, space in the common areas of the school, more portables in use every year, the overcrowded parking lot during events, and again, the amount of traffic on Wildwood Parkway. So what am I asking for? I'm asking that you direct Lugum to rein in the development in Wildwood. Require that the developer conserve more forests and open space or plant more new trees. Require more amenities for residents and safe walking paths between the various neighborhoods. Beef up traffic enforcement on Wildwood Parkway. And finally, seriously consider redistricting to alleviate the overcrowding at Evergreen. Finally, please appoint a fair and balanced redistricting board. Thank you for your time, Commissioners.
Thank you for calling in to participate.
Elisa, do you have any other callers?
Yes, Dr. Bridget, thank you very much. Good evening. Thank you for calling in to participate in the Commissioners of St. Mary's County Public Forum. Please remember you are allotted 3 minutes to address the commissioners, and I will let you know when your time is expired. Please speak clearly and directly into your phone and state your name and address for the record. Good evening. You may begin your remarks now.
Good evening, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to participate in this forum. My name is Mary Ludwig, and I live at 23356 Marview Court in Leonardtown. I was very disappointed to hear the results of the budget decision today. I am not a school teacher. I do not have children in the public school system, but all of my children are past graduates of Great Mills and Leonardtown High School. Consequently, I have always had a vested interest in the wonderful accomplishments of our public schools, as reflected in the many success stories of graduates over the years. Having said that, I do not pretend to be an expert in deciding how funds should be distributed to an individual entity. I instead totally rely on the Board of Education and the public school system to identify their funding needs. And that is just what I would have expected the county commissioners to do. Instead, the majority of you gentlemen who were elected to serve the citizens of St. Mary's County have chosen to take a different, apparently self-serving route with little justification or reasonable explanation to not fully fund the Board of Education. It is very presumptuous of you to assume that you know more than the school board in identifying their funding needs. And this is also true of your apparent savoir-faire attitude regarding the needs of our sheriff's department. These men and women deserve to be paid a competitive salary. I have many family members that serve in this field. We cannot afford to lose their support in St. Mary's. It would be a sad day if you had to call the police for emergency support and no one was there to answer. Just a brief quote from Abraham Lincoln, who said, "It is a sin to be silent when it is your duty to protect." Thank you for your time, and remember why you were elected.
Thank you for calling in to participate. Dr. Bridget, at this time, we don't have any other callers on our teleconference line at the moment.
Okay, thank you. Mark Miller.
Good evening. Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Mark Miller. I'm the president of the Lexington Park Volunteer Rescue Squad. I reside at 22223 Goldenrod Drive, Great Mills, Maryland. I'm here to thank the commissioners, the county administrator, director of finance, director of personnel, Department of Emergency Services, the Ambulance and Rescue Association, their chairwoman, Carol Boehm, and all of the presidents and chiefs of all of the volunteer rescue squads for all of the hard work trying to get a supplemental staffing solution set. It's not the perfect solution, but I am sure that the volunteers of St. Mary's County will work hard with that group to provide the best level of EMS care to the citizens of St. Mary's County. I'd also like to thank Chesapeake Medical Transport, their employees, and especially Donita Graves. All of their hard work is what enabled us to implement that solution in November so quickly. Without their hard work, and it worked very well until the transition started occurring. So their hard work needs to be appreciated and seen by this county. I'd also like to especially thank Dr. Brewster, the whole health department, all of their employees, the Department of Emergency Services, all of the county employees that are helping with the vaccine sites, and all of the volunteers that volunteer there, and especially the county EMS volunteer chief, Sean Davidson, for all of their hard work during this pandemic and at the vaccine rollout. Without the vaccine, there isn't a solution, and they have done wondrous for this county, both in leadership roles and getting the vaccines to the people of St. Mary's County. I'd like to thank all of the first responders that continued to work during these times through the pandemic at risk to themselves before we had a vaccine, and all of their hard work. There was a lot of people that acted as frontline workers or almost first responders that didn't really fit that role before a pandemic, but they went out there, continued their jobs, and enabled the community to live. I'd especially like to thank the chief of Lexington Park Rescue Squad, Ken Hicks, his officers, and all of our volunteers that actually still continue to run calls and support the rescue squad during the pandemic. I'd also need to thank numerous businesses and citizens of St. Mary's County that donated to us during the pandemic to make the life of our volunteers a little bit easier. Those companies are Wawa, Outback Steakhouse, numerous Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts troops, Cracker Barrel, the LPVRS Associates, Joann Fabrics, Family Dollar, Mission Barbecue multiple times, Olive Garden, Showtime Deli, the Leonardtown Volunteer Fire Department Auxiliary, the Hope of Southern Maryland, St. Innie's Coffee, ServPro of St. Mary's County for sanitizing not only our units but our stations numerous times, Staples, enabling us to actually buy supplies that weren't necessarily available all times, the Fidelity chapter of the Eastern Star, Chapter 6 in Valley Lee, Little Caesars, the Bay District Volunteer Fire Department Associates, the Cecil's Mill Homeowners Association, Advanced Auto Parts, and the Southern Maryland Volunteer Firemen's Association Ladies Auxiliary. Also, the Lexington Park Lions Club numerous times provided us drinks, Gatorade, snacks for our crews throughout the 14 months. It wasn't a one-time donation. They came back numerous times, and then even also bought us some N95 masks.
Sir,
so all of those
your time has expired. Could you please
are
wrap
greatly
up?
appreciated. I'd also like to thank over 100 citizens for donating food or masks. I'm sorry if I have missed anyone, but all of those donations actually enabled us to continue doing EMS work in a very hard time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Donna Taggart.
Hi, I'm Donna Taggart. Nice to meet all of you.
Would you tilt the microphone up? How about that? There we go. That probably helps.
That good?
Mm-hmm. How's that?
Donna Taggart, nice to meet you all. I live at 24050 Abels Run Drive in Hollywood, and I am a retired dietitian from MedStar St. Mary's Hospital, 17 years I worked there. My husband, kids, and I came down to St. Mary's County in 1996. You all may remember that date, because yes, I am from Warminster. We hoot and hollered and kicked and screamed to come down here, but one of the things I really missed and hated leaving was our Hatboro YMCA. When I got down down here, there was no place really to swim. Maybe the St. Mary's College, the base, after 9/11, got hard to get on the base. And, you know, my kids grew up learning to swim at that Y. We hung out there in the summer because it had an indoor and an outdoor pool. I've had Lyme disease for 30 years. It affected my joints, so swimming was really, really important. So every time I heard rumors at the CSM College, and obviously that's why I'm here to talk about, is the pool. When I heard those rumors, I'd be like, yes, it's going to be the pool. Wasn't the pool. Then finally, the building went up, and it was the pool and the fitness. And I was telling you, I am probably one of the first people that signed up to join, and I've been there ever since. So it was great for exercise. As a dietitian, I would tell people who couldn't get the exercise on land, get over to CSM, get in the therapy pool. You're going to benefit tremendously. But it's not just your health, it's your well-being mentally. I have one person here from my group. We call ourselves the Pool Gang. We became friends talking with each other in the pool and the locker room, became a social group. We've gone out. Even during the pandemic, we've managed to kind of do socially distanced things at Dorsey Park. And for me, I lost my husband 6 years ago, and it was a tremendous thing to have that group of people. So it meant more than just getting out to the pool, although I tell you, swimming is the best exercise ever. So I have schlepped myself down to the Great Mills pool 2 days a week, got really good at getting on that virtual queue and getting a slot when there was only 7 slots available. And I appreciate that Great Mills remained open. Really appreciate it. But for many of us, my friend who came tonight, she lives up in Country Lakes. That's just too far to drive down to Great Mills. And when you couldn't get in the locker room, driving home freezing wet in the wintertime was a challenge, I have to say. Getting to Hollywood seemed like it took forever from Great Mills. But I am excited. I hear rumors that, yes, it's going to keep the Leonardtown pool open, not like La Plata that's seeing it cemented up. But I hope you realize just how important this pool is, and more than just for the obvious reasons, but for just the social well-being of our citizens here. And I'm staying. I'm a Marylander now. I'm not leaving to go back to Warminster. My kids are all settled here. I have a person at the Great Mills High School teaching. I have somebody at the hospital. I have a police officer. So I'm here to stay in St. Mary's County, but I sure hope we still keep having our pool and all those facilities. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is it Henry Poole?
No, Harry.
Oh, sorry, Harry Poole.
Yeah, I'm Harry Poole. I live at 43450 Little Cliffs Road, and I'm here to talk about, it's trivial. You know, you got law enforcement, and you got rescue squad, and everybody else beating you up. And I've talked to Commissioner Hewitt before about the lack of boat ramps on the Patuxent. I understand we bought Snow Hill Farm, and we've talked about the progress down there. It would be nice to see some type of progression in the newspaper or whatever to let people know. One of the things I talked to you about at that time was the South Sandgates Road, and I don't know how many accidents we've had there already this year since the bikes, the motorcycles, and everything else on that. And then you're going to add big boats to it, and the road's just not wide enough to handle all that. Currently, you go down to the other boat ramps, you can't get into Clark's Landing. And then you go down to the other one, and unfortunately, and I understand everybody wants to enjoy the water, so they bring their cars because their friends have a boat. Well, they park their cars where a boat and a trailer a truck and a trailer or whatever could go, so you've lost a place there to park. It would be nice if, and I've talked to you about with Clark's Landing or any place. We got Myrtle Point we've had for how many years, and I still don't understand why we don't have a boat ramp there. It's deep water. We wouldn't have to put in anything as far as put into boat ramps in a parking lot and just throw your boat right into water. We wouldn't have to worry about putting any type of barriers up there for the reefs or whatever. So it would be nice if we got something. And with the police officers and rescue squad, I hope you all get everything you all need. Because they are the backbone of this county. They keep us healthy. So with that, I hope you all can do something for everybody. Don't waste our money. We work hard every day. I know I've been to work every day since COVID. I pay my taxes. I don't ask for free money, but when I pay my taxes, I want something in return. And right now, it sounds like we're not getting anything in return. So it would be nice if y'all could man up and let's do the right thing for everybody. I appreciate it. Thank you much.
Thank you. Carolyn Siebert.
Hello. Too high? My name's Carolyn Siebert. I live in Scotland, Maryland. I've been a longtime user of the CSM pool in Leonardtown, and I'm here to give you some information regarding issues related to plans for reopening the pool at CSM. We heard that the pool at the La Plata campus is to be filled with concrete. And while we're encouraged that that does not seem to be the plan for the Leonardtown campus pool, it's not enough just to reopen the pool because there are important programs that have been in place for many, many years that need to be reinstated when the pool is reopened. The Wellness Center has had a fitness program that's been used extensively by many of the county seniors for over 10 years, although it is open to all ages. You've heard other people speak to the uses of that pool, both therapeutic programs and others based on guidelines of the Arthritis Foundation have been ongoing in the therapy pool for up to 21 classes each week and 10 enrollees in each class. In fact, some people have been faithfully attending these classes for the entire time. This program focused on exercises related to joint replacement, mobility, and general fitness. In many cases, the classes supplemented ongoing professional physical therapy after injury or surgery. The physical benefit of the classes is only one part of their importance. For many of us, these classes were a major source of social and emotional support, especially for those of us who are now living alone. Long-standing and supportive friendships have been formed in that pool that would never have occurred without the CSM program, and we need to make sure that we maintain this support system. We understand that there are several options under consideration for the operation of this important county resource, and we urge the commissioners to ensure that whoever takes over the pool is made aware of the need to reinstate programs like those of the Arthritis Foundation, and ideally to include this as a mandate in the agreement made with the new management facility. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Elsie Colney.
Good evening, Commissioners. Thank you for this public forum. I'd like to address the pools at the local community college. There are several of us continuing ed pool students here tonight with many more at home. And I know I neglected to tell you my address. Do you want me to do that at the end?
You can do that now while you're thinking about it.
Elise Kaleni, 45763 Elm Court, Lexington Park.
Thank you.
We do not go to that pool to hang out. More correctly, we go to work out with doctors' authorizations in the 88-degree therapy pool. We have not been there just months. We've been there working the conditioning and strengthening program for years. Our group represents many medical situations from head to toe. Many of us have had surgeries and months of physical therapy. Afterwards, we return to the 4.5-foot deep therapy pool with our friends. It is well known medically that a sense of community and having friends is critical as we age. But another one of the most critical findings is that we all keep moving. We were blessed for years with instructor Gina Belcher, whose background was perfectly suited to her classes, such as certifications with the Aquatic Exercise Association, the Arthritis Foundation, the Multiple Sclerosis Society, American Council on Exercise, American Red Cross, and all 10 years teaching these vital classes at the community college. Sadly, we have learned that due to a new job, our instructors moved on. So far, Commissioners, we have rolled with all the punches that pool has given. That included pool cracks, shutting us down twice for repairs. We rolled with the punches and attended makeup classes when we could. We've dealt with low water, high water, cool water, chilly water, warm enough to take a bath in. Out of order showers and too few lockers. We have rolled with it all. We have dealt with the college closing to COVID-19, and now the pool in which we have attended classes remains closed. And while our minds have dealt with all of this, our bodies are hurting. We're excited that the county will take over the pool with Parks and Recs running programs. While I don't understand all the steps to the reopening of the pool, if there is anything you can do to expedite any of these steps for the eventual reopening, we are here to ask you to do just that and to keep us seniors front and center. Commissioners, we've lived here, we've worked here, we've raised our families here, and we've retired here. The therapy pool is vital to our health, well-being, and longevity. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Christina Highland.
Hi. Can you hear me with the mask?
Just get closer to it, that's all.
I can take it off. Okay. So my name is Christina Highland, and my address is 44980 Hamptons Boulevard, Leonardtown, Maryland. I've never been to these, so I actually came with questions, and I'm not going to ask them at this point. I'm just going to kind of say the gist of what I was going to say without the questions. I feel like a lot of people here don't know how to access the government in terms of the development that's happening in the country or in the county. You know, like me, I just start seeing real estate signs popping up, like 22 acres, I think, in Hollywood to a DC development company, I believe, not really sure. So I am concerned about the development. Wildwood, somebody mentioned that earlier. I mean, it's a beautiful area. And it's totally different from the way it was developed previously, where you were building with the land, the trees, the wildlife. I feel like we do have a good opportunity to here to like set an example of how we can build with the land. It's such a special area. It's so beautiful. I guess that's kind of what I have to say. I feel like there's a lot of housing going in. I feel like there's a lot of malls and shopping strips going in. I don't see a lot of incentives for kind of outdoor recreation. I still see people going up the road for like putt-putt golf or ropes courses or anything like that, hiking trails. People are traveling hours away for that. So I guess I'm just kind of gonna read. I just feel like people. I see so many license plates where I live now. It's like New York and Jersey, California, Michigan, Massachusetts. I understand we have people coming here, and I understand we need housing. I just feel like we could be building with the environment and not trashing it and building house upon house upon house where people just don't have land. They don't have privacy. It's not really healthy. We're just one of those last strongholds, I feel like, where you can walk around and you can smell the scents of the flowers. You can see the ice on the trees. You can take engagement photos. You can see the foliage changing when you drive around here. I would just hate to see that this continue to go in this direction that it's kind of going in. And I guess that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Brandon Russell.
Good evening. I'd first like to thank the commissioners for today's earlier LGBTQIA proclamation recognizing June as Pride Month in St. Mary's County. There are many in the community who don't agree with the proclamation or don't think it's necessary, but that's what makes it necessary. I also would like to recognize the work that goes into achieving a balanced budget, so I'd like to thank the commissioners and the county staff for their efforts during the process. I tried to understand the logic of presenting the idea to fund turf fields. It seems like more of a long-term project, not something that happens instantly. Then I thought about the discussion around YMCA funding. This board agreed to revise the funding for YMCA to accurately reflect the cost attributed to surveys and engineering. The decision was made to ensure that proper funding was built into the budget for this long-term project, with talk of various planning stages to come. Why wouldn't turf fields be treated in the same manner? I also spent some time thinking about the back and forth over the budget. First, revenue projections were too low, then they were raised. Later, I heard that revenue projections aren't assured and that we can't count on them. If that's true, why did you agree to raise them? Earlier this month, Commissioner Colvin shared some information from a Standard & Poor's review of the county finances. The report referenced, quote, the county's strong financial position primarily due to a durable local economy. So I ask now, which is it? Are we bracing for COVID economic fallout, or is our economy strong? Over the past 5 months, I've watched as this board has ignored feedback from its constituents. A few months ago, I heard Commissioner Guy remark that no one supported or wanted HB 655. But out of 50 testimony submissions from across the state, only 16 were against HB 655. Of those 16, all but one were from elected officials or their representatives. Maybe it's these officials who don't want HB 655. Many people spoke in favor of a balanced redistricting board. What we got instead was a delay of the process and no real recognition from the commissioners that they were committed to producing a fair redistricting board. I am still in favor of this idea, as are others. Will we get a commitment from you to appoint 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans, and 1 independent in this board? That remains to be seen. I remember one of you mentioning the thousands of emails that came in about the budget. At a nearly 4-hour public forum, many community members, including students, spoke. I didn't hear any of those speakers raise turf fields as a budget priority. I feel safe in assuming that the thousands of emails you received probably didn't list turf fields as a priority either. And when officials are elected at large, they have access to a greater number of votes and a broader voting base. Being elected by district would make those officials directly responsible for that district and for those constituents. If that were the case, maybe it wouldn't be as easy to ignore constituents when they get involved. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Elisa, do we have anyone else signed up?
For the teleconference line, Dr. Bridget, let me check. I don't see any calls right now. Hi, Julie. This is Elisa Casas. I'm calling to see if we have any more teleconference calls for the Commissioners' public forum this evening.
We do not.
Thank you, Julie. Dr. Bridget, at this time, we don't have any more callers on our teleconference line.
Thank you for checking. Is there anyone else here tonight that would like to speak? Okay, sure.
I'll get you in a minute.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm Ellen Flowers Fields, Associate Vice President of Continuing Education and Workforce Development at the College of Southern Maryland. And first and foremost, I want to thank you for your ongoing support of the College of Southern Maryland, and certainly of your support of the ongoing negotiations of the MOU between the College of Southern Maryland and your Department of Parks and Recreation. The citizens who have come here this evening are our impassioned students. They are passionate about wellness and fitness as well as we are. And we're here to assure them that our mutual commitment remains firm. We're working through this negotiation process. And as the College of Southern Maryland is in phase 3 of its reopening operations, our first priority is to get our students back in the classroom and to do that safely. And we've been operating in a hybrid mode for several months now, and we'll continue to do that through the summer. As we move towards the fall, we're going to expand that reopening to include some of the wellness and fitness activities that you've heard about here this evening. I explained to many of those who presented this evening before the forum when we had an opportunity to speak in the hall that it'll be slow. We need to make sure everyone's safe, and we need to make sure that the protocols that remain in place for the pandemic are being followed, but they have our commitment to continue to work with them and get them back into this very important asset in this county. So again, I want to thank you for your continued support and just thank our students for their passion, and we look forward to getting you guys back in that class as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ellen.
Thank you. Anyone else wanting to speak? Yes, sir.
I'm Mike Schwartz. I own Mike's Bikes. I live at 21310C Great Mills Road, upstairs from the shop. It's come to my attention that the new police station at Lexington Park is not manned. 24/7 due to a funding problem, evidently. That's completely wrong. We have the most people in Lexington Park. We have the most crime, but we don't have a 24/7 police presence there. You spent all that money to build that building. You may as well have left the outpost beside the highs from way back in the day. You need to man that thing 24/7. The people in Lexington Park need a place to go where they can find a cop when they need one, anytime, day or night. People say a lot of bad things about Lexington Park, including I've heard a member of this board. There's a lot of hardworking people in Lexington Park. They need police protection. They also could use a couple other things. Everybody talks bad about Lexington Park, but nobody seems to want to do anything about it. Because of the at-large system of voting for commissioners in this county, all of you gentlemen are partly responsible for what goes on there, not just Todd. You need to start going into town, looking around, and trying to help the people there. I have a couple ideas for you. We need job programs for the homeless people. We need summer job programs for the kids. We need apprentice programs for kids coming out of high school. All those contractors making millions and billions of dollars should be helping the kids in this county to get started in life. The trades could do that too. I believe we need to open the schools, gyms, and libraries in the summertime so that these kids have a place to go where they can continue learning and maybe play a little basketball or something. Summer basketball leagues for the kids would not be a bad idea. Helping the mission. The mission does a lot of work that you guys should be doing. The way the mission is treated is despicable in my eyes. I think we need to find facilities for victims of domestic violence. That's something that this county has needed for decades. No one's ever done anything about it. I think you guys got to change your priorities. We don't need AstroTurf fields. We need opportunities for the young. We need police presence and law and order in Lexington Park. And we need to help the people. The people in Lexington Park do all the hard work in this county. They're the ones doing the floors, working the retail for nothing. And they deserve respect. And they deserve help from this board.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Elisa, anyone on the phone call?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Bridget. Good evening. Thank you for calling in to participate in the Commissioners of St. Mary's County Public Forum. Please remember you have 3 minutes to address the commissioners, and I will let you know when your time has expired. Please speak clearly into your phone and state your name and address for the record. Good evening. You may begin your remarks now.
Thank you very much. This is Troy Cowan, 21411 South Essex in lovely downtown Lexington Park. Thank you for the kind words about Lexington Park and the hard work that folks do down here. I want to thank the commissioners as well for the support and approval of the YMCA Community Center project going forward. We're looking forward with eager anticipation bringing that project in on time, budget, and fully ready to operate. I have two additional points I'd like to bring up this evening. One has already been addressed a couple of times, and that is the large number and the frequency of budget changes, specifically additions to spend found money. I would suggest the commissioners consider coming up with a disciplined process for identifying the candidates when found money is available, and then prioritizing those candidates and working off the prioritized candidate list when funds do become available. It would also be important to have that that list of candidate projects subject to public review and comment. The last thing I would suggest, and this speaks to the representation issue, regardless of how you felt about the House bill and all of that, I think it would be a great thing if the commissioners had community-based town hall sessions to supplement these quarterly public forums. Getting you guys sitting down in the localities would be a great benefit and give y'all a lot of insight into the local situation. Thank you again for supporting the Y. Looking forward to working with you in the coming year. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Sir, thank you for your remarks. Dr. Bridget, it doesn't appear that we have any more callers at this time. I'll check in with Julie real quick.
Public Forum Call Center.
Julie, it's Elisa Casas. I'm calling to see if we have any more callers on our teleconference line at the moment for the Commissioners of St. Mary's County Public Forum.
We do not.
Thank you, Julie. Dr. Bridget, at this time, we have no more callers on our teleconference line.
Thank you, Ms. Casas. We do not have any more for the public forum tonight. Anyone else that would like to speak?
Can I say something else?
Sure, Schwartz, come on up, buddy.
Coming up, Mike. Tell us one more.
I think you ought to adjust the way you do your protocols here at the forum. All these people.
Sir, excuse me, could you come to the microphone so they can hear you on YouTube?
Well, they'll hear me anyway. All these people came here to speak to you guys in person. I don't think they should have to wait for the people who just called in. I think the people who just called in should have to wait for the people who had enough gumption and respect to come and actually come here and talk to you in person.
I agree.
And I know I gave you a lot of hard time tonight, but the health department did a good job with the vaccine rollout. Credit where credit is due.
Thank you, Mike.
Once a ranger, always a ranger.
And Commissioners, this completes the public forum.
Thank you, Dr. Bridget and Elisa, for all your time here tonight. For all of you here tonight, this is important. We get some public input, and we'd like to thank all of you who attended in person and those who called in tonight. It's very important that we get feedback. I assure you that all your answers will come to you as soon as possible. We have our directors are either listening in, we'll get the information you've just provided, and we'll be working. The CSM has been a big thing, and believe me, we're working hard at that with our Rexon Park group to finalize that and hopefully get that pool fixed and back in order. I agree with the arthritis problem. I know I'm going through that myself. And pools do make a big difference to water and everything. We appreciate your input. It's an important part of deliberations and decision-making that we have up here on a daily basis and weekly basis. You can be assured that each of your concerns will be addressed, and you will be contacted by us or one of our staff for follow-up information. At this time, thank you all for being here tonight, and have a good weekend coming up. This is Memorial Day. Remember why Memorial Day is happening. Please remember your service people who gave the ultimate sacrifice. We will now close the public forum.